So now that we have our levels and grids, let's navigate back to our level 1 floor plan. We're going to talk about drawing. Okay, so there are a few things that we can draw, and we're just, for now, going to be drawing based off of the Architecture tab. I'm going to look at the ribbon and select Wall, and I'm going to draw a wall. So now drawing a wall is the exact same thing as drawing a grid. I can just use the typical line tool, and I can click, and then I can click. Note that I can see what kind of wall I'm making in the Properties tab. It's a basic wall, generic 8-inch thick. My location line is the wall center line. So I'm just going to draw 4 walls. So let's look at some of the properties of this wall that I just drew. The top constraint is unconnected. The unconnected height is 20 feet. So what I've done is I've made a wall that starts at level 1 with no base offset. So it starts right at that level 1 that I defined, 0, 0 elevation. And it's going up exactly 20 feet. It's not constrained by anything. So I just drew 4 walls that are generic, basic 8-inch thick walls. What's another way I could have done that? I'm going to hit Control Z. And let's do the same thing, but with a box. So, faster way to do the same thing. I encourage you to always try to find faster ways to do things. It'll save you so much effort later on, especially because you'll be really ready for things like the exams and the design project. The location line, that means when I draw it, that's what is going to be placed on whatever I select. So for example, if I have the line tool and I say wall center line and I draw it, I'm drawing exactly where the center of that wall is, right? If it were, for example, if I change this to finish face exterior, where my cursor is drawing is going to be the exterior face of my wall. Do you guys see the difference there? Play around with this a little bit and experiment. Take some time if you'd like, and make sure you know how this works, because it'll be important later. So I'm going to make some walls, and I'm going to make walls that go from level 1 to level 2. So I'm just going to still use this generic 8-inch wall, and the top constraint, I'm going to set that up to level 2. Notice that that changes the height to 15 because my levels are 15 feet apart. No offset, I'm just going to draw some walls in some kind of shape. I'll just draw this kind of shape. And you can choose to draw whatever shape you like. This is just purely up to your imagination. Oops, I overshot it. So if I overshoot it, I can just quickly redraw the line. No big deal. And I have this very interesting U-shaped building. I hit Escape to exit the drawing tool. Alright, take a moment to catch up if you need to. You can pause here. Alright, now right back into it. We have walls that go from level 1 to level 2. Do you want to see what these look like? I sure do. If I go to my elevation view, let's go to east elevation. So I'm just going to hit Escape again. Make sure my cursor is back to normal before I select something. Click there, and now I can see my wall in this view. Now, it's probably a little bit hard to see. It probably could be a little bit easier. Well, let's make it a little bit easier for ourselves. I'm going to go to my level 1 floor plan again, and then, not that I really needed to do that, I'm going to show the 3D view. So Revit has the ability to, we draw in 2D, and then we can view it in 3D, which is so convenient. So I click on this little house icon at the very top of my ribbon, and now I can see what I've created in 3D. Now moving around this works the exact same way as the 2D view worked. We can pan, we can zoom in, we can zoom out, with the difference being this cube up here. So this navigation cube allows me to drag my 3D view around. So practice manipulating this. I can click on one elevation, it'll just show me that. Or I can click on one of the corners, drag it around. I can just click like this and have it orient itself in whatever direction that I specify. So this view cube is very handy, very useful. In general, it's not a good idea to make edits in the 3D view. That's because you don't really know what it's going to change in any of the 2D views, and it's not really properly constrained. Revit is designed so that all of the work is done in 2D, if possible. Okay, let's go back to the level 1 floor plan, and as much as I love this little wall shape, I would like for there to be a floor. You know, I like something to stand on. So let's add a floor to this. And what else do we use besides the floor tool? All I have to do, it says, creates a floor for the current level of the building model. That's very convenient. This is just an architectural floor. We'll get into more detailed ones later, so I'm going to click on floor. And then I can just draw a floor boundary. So I could do it with lines, or I could do it with pick lines, right? If I just pick the lines that are on the inside faces of all the walls, I've got a very nice floor boundary. And with things like floors, things like roofs, anything that spans horizontally, you need to make sure that it's a completely enclosed loop. So do I have an enclosed loop here? Yes. If I don't, it'll yell at me when I try to finish it. So I click Finish Edit Mode, and now I have a floor, and I can see it in 3D. And what is my floor made out of? Generic 12-inch floor. So nothing inspiring yet. So I have walls, I have a floor. What more can I ask for? Probably a roof, I would guess. So right now I have 3 levels. If I go to my elevations, I have level 1, 2, 3. I'm going to name this one roof. T-O roof. That means top of roof. Just so that I can make sure that everything copies properly. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys something that's a little bit more complicated, but we'll be doing it a lot throughout the semester, so just introducing you to it now. Let's go to our level 1 floor plan. I'm going to click and drag until I have a really big box around everything, and everything is selected right now. Then notice my ribbon changed. Modify, multi-select. So I'm going to filter my selection, which means I grab everything and then I say, actually, I don't want all of it. So I click on the filter button, and I only want to take walls and walls and floors with me, sorry. I don't need any of these other things. I'm going to select only walls and floors, and you'll see why in a minute. Hit OK. Alright, now I have these things. I'm going to press, I can copy to clipboard. I can just click on this thing up in the ribbon, or I can press Control-C on the keyboard, exactly what you're familiar with. And then I can use this paste option up here. So I can do something called paste aligned to selected levels. So if I click paste in the drop-down menu, I see this option, aligned to selected levels. I'm just going to paste everything I have also onto level 2. So now in 3D, rather than just one box, I have a box that has a floor. You see that? I've made walls and floors for 2 different levels, so I don't have to remodel everything if it's basically got the same outline, and I can only take the things that I need for this floor. Take a moment to catch up if you need to, rewind if you have to. I'm going to keep going by making a roof. Okay, so we have something going up from level 1 to level 2 to level 3. Let's go to our level 3 floor plan and start drawing a roof. Notice I can't see anything. I can't see my building through here. So what I'm going to do is hit escape twice to exit the selection tool. Then I'm going to scroll down over here in our properties window, and I'm going to change the graphic display options. So I can click edit over here. And then I want to show, actually not graphic display options, sorry. It's going to be view range. So under extents, go down to view range. Under view depth level, let's say we can also see level 2. And that means in our view, now we can see the things that are going on in level 2, and that's going to help us in order to draw a roof over everything. Okay, so let's draw a roof. I'm going to go to architecture, and then over here, roof. So using the pick lines tool, I can just pick lines like that, or I can even pick walls. Add sketch based off of existing walls. And if I hover over something, it'll generally give me exactly what it does. You don't even have to remember that much. Super convenient. I'll click pick walls, and I'll give it some kind of overhang. I think 3-foot overhang is good. And I'll just click these walls. And notice, by default, they're all connecting to each other. Alright, so you see these little triangles? Those triangles means that those particular parts of the roof define the slope. So if I want to modify that, I can click on those individual ones and then uncheck define slope. Define slope means, actually I can just show you what it means. So I can click check. Now in 3D, it's starting to look like a house. But notice that every single line that I had that was defining that slope is now defining part of that actual roof. So it's saying, oh, this is where the slope starts to come in. If I wanted to, for example, make it so that this part did not slope inward, then I would uncheck define slope on those parts. So back to your level 3 floor plan, click on the roof, edit the footprints, and then let's take this line over here and uncheck define slope, as well as this one. Let's see how that changes our roof. All right, not bad. But now that means that there's a big gap between my wall and my roof. So I'm going to do something that we'll also be doing throughout the semester more, but just to introduce you to it, I'm going to attach top to base. So if I click on one element, such as this wall, and then I click attach top to base, that will bring this wall up to the base of this roof. So click on the wall, then click on the roof. Notice now they have joined into one element. The same thing on the other side. Click. Attach wall to base. All right. You guys can pause here if you'd like, but now it's starting to look sort of like a house. We've done walls, floors, and roofs.